for a successful life. I would like to say a few words about Swamiji. However, Swamiji is more than my limited words of introduction. Swami Achyutananda Giri joined Yoga Satsang Society of India as a monk in December 1996. After obtaining master degree, he did MPhil in Department of Chinese and Japanese Studies, International Relations at Delhi University and taught political science for a brief period. At present, he is serving as the ashram in charge at the headquarters of Yoga Satsang Society of India, Dakshineshwar. He is also in charge of educational institution and meditation center run by Yoga Satsang Society of India in the state of West Bengal. Also at present he serves as...
So ultimate, the aim is salvation, and these are the all steps. कहते हैं सबसे अच्छा जो है वो गृहस्थ है। अगर गृहस्थियों से भी बात करें कि आप संन्यास से ज़्यादा भी इम्पोर्टेंट है। Because but from very childhood he wanted to be a saint, so he became and started his. I would say very recently I have written a memoir on Paramas Yogananda. I have written a saint from west to east. Because for some time he was in India at the early age, as a youth like you. He left for America. And he was assigned the responsibility by his senior gurus that one day this young man will go to America and teach them meditation. That is in the 1920s. And Swamiji belonged to that school of thought. Yogananda stayed there for a long 32 years. In between he came to India about 16 months. And there he also, I would say, developed the system in India in the Yoga Satsang Society. And it is his, the Yogananda's hierarchy which is continuing. I'm very lucky that I got the chance to read the book Autobiography of Yogi. And thereafter I became a disciple of Yogananda. I think that is the greatest achievement of my life, that along with my other duties, I am also following the footsteps of my guru. So we are having today a great scholar, one like us, who has also taught the students, and we are very keen to listen. I don't want to study Swami and you. And topic is also very interesting. That how can you have a balanced life or successful living? Everybody wants to be successful. Thank you very much.
Telling that renunciant life he was comparing in householder life. In fact, to be renunciant, you don't have to wear clothes. Wherever you are, you can be renunciant. Inner renunciation, which is very important. And in fact, to achieve success in life, you have to renounce. You have to renounce your attachment to so-called gross life. Unless you are aware of subtler aspects of life, you will not be able to understand. I will clarify that point. What success means and what for we are going to achieve success in life. See, when I say success, usually we always think it in terms of something. A successful teacher, a successful lawyer, a successful student, or even a successful thief. So in any field you can be successful. But when I am talking about balanced living for a successful life, definitely we don't want to be a successful thief. We want to achieve success, to achieve some greater goal. And that goal is, whether you are conscious or unconscious, it is same for all. To enjoy, to be happy. And if I use another word, to be blissful. There is difference between happiness and to be blissful. Bliss, the bliss consciousness. Happiness is, it is something like you have created some want Now this modern life, it has one greatest demerit of increasing our wants. We are exposed to so many things, and unconsciously desires keep growing. Like so many advertisements are coming, bombardment of advertisements, and unconsciously our desires are also growing. And because desires are growing, our wants are also growing. So we need that pleasure-seeking attitude to satisfy that want. By satisfying that want, I will get some happiness, some pleasure. But real happiness, real bliss, that word I used, it doesn't need to be, it is not conditioned by fulfillment of some particular want. And that unconsciously we are all searching for. Have you heard of that story in Mahabharata, Yaksha Prashna? Yaksha was that Dharmaraj in disguise, and he wanted to just test Yudhishthira as. So 5 Pandavas, they went to drink water from a pond, they were thirsty, and the Yaksha said, you have to first reply my questions, then only you should go for drinking, otherwise if you don't listen to me, you will face the consequence. So they didn't listen, 4 of them, they lost their consciousness, they were just lying there. Then Yudhishthira came, he saw all his brothers lying, so he guessed that something is wrong here. Then the Yaksha came and he asked some questions to Yudhishthira. One of those questions were, what is the most surprising thing in this world? Then Yudhishthira said, the most surprising thing is that we all see the dance of death all around us. Every human being sees that, but when he is alive, he doesn't think that he will die at some time. Do you think? I never think. I can admit. So I thought about it. What is the secret behind this? It is so real, it is so glaring on our face. Death is a reality, we cannot deny that. But even then, how can we blissfully be unmindful of that? So I arrived at the conclusion, it is because, in fact, we will never die. There is something in us which will never die. The Gita says, Nainam Chindanti Sastrani Nainam Dahati Pavak, that Atma, which is ever living, eternal. And deep inside us, in the core of our being, that thing is still there. That awareness of being immortal is very much there. But we fail to connect with that source of immortality. That's why we go through all those sufferings. The moment we really know, if we really know that I will not die, then just imagine what a great joy it will give, what a great comfort it will give to you. So real success lies in connecting that source from where we can get that real joy. Whatever other success you are wanting, there is nothing wrong in it. To be successful in whatever. In fact, one of the definitions of yoga is dexterity in whatever you are doing, efficiency in whatever you are doing. Yoga karmashu koshala. It is given in Bhagavad Gita. Dexterity, efficiency in work. I am sure when you develop that attitude, whatever you do, it will be something else. A layman doing that job and a yogi doing that job, there is a great difference in that. So happiness, or I will say bliss, that is our goal. So whatever success, I will say the success that we want to achieve through our day-to-day living, successful doctor, successful engineer, fine. But there is the success which we all are looking for, that we'll get only when we connect that source of eternal bliss which is within us. Please don't forget that. This is not anything idealistic. I'm not talking as a sannyasi or in an idealistic tone. Be very pragmatic. What for I want to be a doctor? What for I want to be a great scholar? Just ask this question. Ultimately, without that fulfillment, without that joy, without that happiness, what for I am trying to achieve something in my life? So ultimately, you have to arrive at that conclusion, that that is what I want. And what is that happiness? It is unconditional. I will give you an example. I read that poem by John Hay. He was an American statesman, diplomat, author, journalist, and private secretary and assistant to Abraham Lincoln. He wrote this. It's a ballad. Ballad, you know, poems, stories described in form of poems. It is the title of the poem is The Enchanted Sart. I will just read few lines from it. The king was sick, his cheek was red, and his eye was clear and bright. He ate and drank with a kingly jest and peacefully snored at night, but he was sick. Then he goes on, he's saying, but he said he was sick, and a king should know. You know, a king is saying sick means nobody can deny that. So he's saying, I am sick. And doctors came by the score. They didn't cure him. He cut off their heads. He's a king. So if doctors cannot cure him, he just kill them. Then finally 2 doctors came, one of those 2 doctors. And thus his prescriptions ran. The doctor gave a prescription. King will be well if he sleeps one night in the sart of a happy man. Wearing the shirt of a happy man, if the king sleeps, he will be, because he understood his disease is something unique, it needs a unique treatment. So that treatment is, that too, he was not just a doctor, he was also very wise. He understood that the king's disease is not something natural, he is suffering from some psychological, deep psychological problem which can be cured by a different method, not by usual natural physician's prescription. So he said, you have to get a shirt of a happy man and wear it for one night, then you will be cured. Wide over the realm, the couriers rode, and fast their horses ran, and many they saw, and to many they spoke, but they found no happy man. They found poor men who would fain be rich, and rich who thought they were poor. This is a dilemma that we all are living in. When you are rich, you think you are poor, and those who are poor, sometimes they behave as if they are very rich. They love to do that sometimes. At last, as they came to a village gate, sorry. Can I read? This is very slippery. Okay, at last, as they came to a village gate, a beggar lay whistling there. He whistled and sang and laughed and rolled, and the crowd drew near, sign of a very happy man. He's whistling and dancing in joy. So at last, as they came, this is our man, they thought. The courier said, our luck has laid us aright. I will give you 100 ducats, friend, for the loan of your shirt tonight. They saw, we have found the happiest man now. So they asked him, can you loan your shirt for tonight? The merry blackguard lay back on the grass. Blackguard, if you know, that a rude, unscrupulous person. So he lay back on the grass then and laughed till his face was black after hearing their question. I would do it, and he rode with the fun, but I have not a shirt to my back. I don't have a shirt to wear, so how can I give you? Each day to the king, the reporters came in of his unsuccessful spies, and the sad panorama of human woes passed daily under his eyes, he now realized, the king realized, that in his kingdom, none is really happy. Not only in his kingdom, it is hard to find a really happy man, he realized. And he grew ashamed of his useless life, and his maladies hatched in gloom. He opened his windows and let the air of the free heaven into his room. And out he went in the world and toiled in his own appointed way, and the people blessed him. The land was glad, and the king was well and gay. This last two stanza gives us the clue. When you live in harmony with the nature, and the harmony of the cosmic law, natural law, fulfill your duties wherever you have been assigned, like he has been assigned to be chancellor of this university. You are all assigned to be students, wherever we are. If we fulfill that assigned duty and follow and align ourselves to that natural law, cosmic law, and in fact the entire universe is bound by that. If you just be a little sensitive, you can realize that. That is the secret to be happy. Key to be happy. Now, here are 2 points I wanted to mention. In the example cited above, the beggar, he didn't have even a shirt to wear, but he was happy. So that means, see, please don't misunderstand, I am not ideologizing poverty. That only a poor man can be happy. A poor man only has the right to be happy. No. Sometimes it is done. There are some isms, They say that only when you're poor, you can be happy. So now they want a revolution where all should be equal. That means all have to be poor. No. It is not true. Even a rich man can be happy, and rich man can be unhappy also. A poor man can be happy, a poor man can be unhappy also. Because our Guruji says, happiness depends to some extent upon external conditions, of course. Without a good health, without your minimum needs fulfilled, you cannot be happy. But chiefly upon mental conditions. Happiness is a state of mind. Chiefly it depends on mental conditions. And practically we all are seeking for that, as I said in the beginning. But we are still searching for it, not getting it really, because our Guruji uses a very beautiful term for that. He says, because of our excited consciousness. He uses that word, excited consciousness. What is that excited consciousness? We create our wants because of exposure to, because of our attachment to so-called mundane reality, so many objects of desire around us. So we keep on jumping from one object to another, testing. Maybe I'll get that happiness that I am seeking from here. So we create want, and that want creates an excitement in us, an excited state of consciousness, and we go on fulfilling one after another those excited consciousness, running after that. It will never be fulfilled. It will go on. Once, I think most of you, now many of you are very young, maybe you have not yet realized, but as your hair grows grey and you start realizing, you will see there is no end to it. There is no end to your wants, your desires. So the key to happiness lies not fulfilling those wants that are created through your excited consciousness, but to control that. You will not go into that state of excited consciousness. Guruji uses another word also, contract consciousness. You have a contract with the consciousness, like this desire, this want was created because of your attachment to a particular thing, and if you fulfill that, you have a contract. Then you will get happiness. Then another desire created, another contract. You fulfill that, you will get happiness. It will never be. So, that means the key is to avoid, not just avoid, to prepare yourself so that you will not go through that excitement, which will create false desires. You know, our Guruji says there is only one desire, the desire of all the desires that we are having, that is desire to get that ultimate happiness, ultimate joy. And you know, when I say ultimate joy, ultimate happiness, there is always a condition there. Who is going to enjoy that? Consciousness. So if I have unlimited joy and my consciousness is limited, then how can I enjoy that unlimited eternal joy? That means my consciousness also has to be unlimited. Eternal consciousness. And then there is also another condition. I have eternal consciousness, I have eternal joy to enjoy, but I am short-lived. Suppose I lived only for 10 years or 5 years, then how am I going to enjoy that? We cannot. So that means I have to exist eternally, I should have eternal consciousness, and I should have unlimited joy to enjoy. So that concept of eternal bliss goes with this eternal consciousness and eternal existence. इसको हमारे शास्त्रों में बोला है सच्चिदानंद. They cannot exist, they are not mutually exclusive. They go together. Joy, consciousness, eternal joy, eternal consciousness, and eternal bliss or eternal existence. सच्चिदानंद is the ultimate concept. आप लोग भगवान में विश्वास करते हैं? Yes, sir. You believe? Why do you believe? Can you prove me? Yes, sir. Good thing to believe, but I will throw up a challenge before all of you when I end. If you believe, you have to prove that there is God. If you don't believe, you have to also prove that there is no God. This teaching has a challenge before us. I pursued this way. I started practicing this teaching with this attitude. That here is something which is saying that if you follow this, you will get the result. You will know for yourself. You will realize for yourself. You don't have to believe in proxy. Because somebody else believed, my father believed, my grandfather believed, that's why I believe in God. No. Because I believe in a particular dogma, a particular ideology, that's why I believe. No. That is not the real scientific temple. We have to realize ourselves. In fact, that is the crux of Indian spirituality. We don't believe, our spirituality never preaches just a dogma. It is very individualistic, very subjective. You pursue it, you practice. Like Guruji used to say always, when somebody used to tell him that you were great, you were born with it, you were a prema avatar, you were a great incarnation. He used to say, no, please don't justify your insincerity, your lack of motivation under this pretext. That you are great, that's why you could achieve. I am not great, that's why I cannot achieve. No. Greatness I achieved, I realized because I made an effort. You can also realize that within yourself. This is the science, spiritual science. We are in fact very lucky in this country, this culture. We have inherited that thing from our great forefathers. Okay, so now, how this desire is the excited consciousness we are developing within us, I will tell you the secret, how it is happening, then from that you will get the clue how you can control that. Why balance is necessary. I will come to that topic. In Gita there is a shlok. Do you understand? Do you like Sanskrit also? Yes, sir. It's a beautiful language. Just the recitation also creates a very good vibration. So I will recite for you, even if you don't understand. You can feel that vibration. Dhyayate vishayan punsha sangastesu upajayate. Sangat sanjayate kama, kamat krodho vijayate. Krodhat bhavati sammoha, sammohat smriti vibhrama. Smriti vansat buddhinasha pranashyati. It's a step by step, it's a logical sequence given here. How we are getting attached to so-called material objects, that is creating that excited consciousness within us, wants, desires within us. Dhayat vishayan punsa. When I'm thinking about this, the idea is the culprit. I started thinking about something, then I got sangastesu upajayate. I get attached to that. The moment I get attached to that, sangat sanjayate kama. What time I started?
Swamiji, 12:50.
So up to what time I should speak?
We have time, sir. 1:30, 1:35.
Okay.
1:40.
1:40,
We can
okay.
extend, sir.
Because accordingly, I have so many things to say. I don't want to miss anything. Also, I don't want to take much of your time. So then, sangat sanjayate kama. When I get attached, from there I get desire for that object. Then, kamat krodho vijayate. When desire is created and it is not fulfilled, you get angry. You get disturbed mentally. Krodhat bhavati sammoha. Once you become angry, your power of discrimination doesn't work. When you become restless. So when discrimination is not working, sammoha smriti vibhrama. When you get deluded because of unfulfillment of desires, then smriti vibhrama. Smriti vibhrama means you lose the memory of your divine origin. You were made in the image of God. You are a divine soul. You forget that. You start behaving like an animal. And smriti vansat buddhinasu. Once you remember, you forget your true nature, all your power of discrimination is destroyed. Buddhinashat pranashyati. And when you lose all your discriminative faculties, you are as bare as an animal. You are no more a human being. Pranashyati, we get destroyed. But not to be frightened, we can never be destroyed. The divine spark within will always find some opportunity to come out. Our Guruji says, eternal damnation. God is not going to damn you for eternity, punish you for eternity. You will get an opportunity. But if we realize we wake up, sooner we wake up is better, otherwise we have to go through that suffering. If we don't understand it easily, then you will be made to understand by going through those difficulties. So that's why those are wise people, they say that wise men commit mistake not to commit it again, but fools commit it again and again. So why should he be in that fools category? We should be wise. We should learn from others' mistake. Okay. Now we are getting attached. And we are getting attached because we are thinking about that. And there is a very interesting thing that our Guruji has given, the mechanism of thinking about the outer objects and getting attached to that, how it is working. Within us, there are two principles. One is our soul nature, and another is our ego nature. Ego is what? It is a reflection of soul, with which usually a common man identifies. My identity is, I am a person with such and such name, I was born here, he was my father, now I attach to I identify with some close reality, close circle, which gives me the identity. My identity is relative to the surroundings which I am living in, this body, this mind. It's very interesting. I was thinking sometime, if I am passing by and nobody feels my presence, then I am not existing. Our existence, our identity is so relative to others' perception, to the surrounding in which we are living in. So ego is that limited identity that we are getting when our true soul nature is getting limited through all kinds of relativity that we have assumed upon that we have accepted through after we took birth as a human being. And our Guruji says that reflection is happening because that limited identity is something we are identified with because our consciousness is outgoing. It is like always we see an image of something in a mirror. So mirror is like this world of delusion. I am saying world of delusion doesn't mean that I don't ascribe any meaning to this creation. No, there is some meaning. But now science has also established that what we are seeing is not the real nature of the things that we are watching. Science is saying, our Guruji has quoted in fact in his autobiography, if you have read, like he's saying, on the epochal theory of relativity, that is Einstein's theory of relativity, have arisen the mathematical possibilities of exploring the ultimate atom. Great scientists are now boldly asserting not only that the atom is energy rather than matter, but that atomic energy is essentially mind stuff. Mind stuff means consciousness. Now, few years back, it was already established that matter is derivative of energy. Now there are some scientists, they are saying energy is basically mind stuff, consciousness. You can say energy is derived from a field of consciousness. Now, most of you must have already heard of this concept of unified field theory. In fact, they say Einstein had a hunch about that, but he never could establish it in laboratory through experimentation. But now many scientists are coming up with this idea that there is an unified field of consciousness from which energy and matter is getting derived. So that means ultimately this watch is just consciousness. It is derived from that field of consciousness which is existing everywhere. Our Guruji has quoted one famous writer, Arthur Eddington, in his book. He wrote a book, I think, The Nature of the Physical World. That is the book. In that book he is saying, my shadow elbow is resting upon shadow table and the shadow pen is writing on the shadow paper and the shadow ink is flowing through the pen. And he's saying, the physicist leaves it there as a shadow. The physics has discovered that this is just a shadow reality. And then he's saying, then comes the alchemist mind who transmutes the symbols to put the conclusion crudely. The stuff of the world is mind stuff. That means he's saying, mind only interprets this as a watch, as a platform, as an harmonium. So the alchemist mind is interpreting, but the physicist, for the physicist, this is just a shadow existence. Ultimately, it is consciousness only. It has been established scientifically. I'm not talking any philosophy. It has been established scientifically that we are existing in a shadow reality. So that means if we get carried away by this shadow reality, well, we'll reach in shadow only. We cannot enjoy life in real sense of the term. So wisdom, to me, I have a very simple definition of wisdom. You see the reality as it is. That is wisdom. I don't have to go for a long definition what Shankaracharya has said or what he has said, what she has said. Very simple. We should know the reality as it is existing. I should be able to delve deep into this matter and know that it is ultimately consciousness. And that is possible scientifically if we pursue that science of meditation. That is what Kriya Yoga, you must have heard this term, Kriya Yoga, that our Guruji gave to us. Through that, we can come to that conclusion. Yes, I was talking about two principles, ego and soul. So ego is the reflection of soul in the mirror of Maya. And mostly we are identified with ego, and since ego belongs to this mundane creation, it always wants to satisfy the inherent desire for joy and happiness through this mundane creation. Because it doesn't have any idea about, and please remember, ego doesn't have its own existence. It is just a virtual image of soul. Have you, you must have read Mahabharata, of course you know. People who are from outside, they know or not, I don't know, but it has become very popular now. Our Guruji has given spiritual interpretation of Mahabharata. You must have read that God talks with Arjuna, Guruji's interpretation of Gita. So there, he's saying Mahabharata is battle between Kauravas and Pandavas. Kauravas, they represent the material desires. And Pandavas, they represent the power of discrimination. Very simply, I'm trying to put it, I will not go deep into that. So, the fighting between the power of discrimination and the mental desires, material desires, it is constantly going on in every human being. So, within each one of us, that war is going on, Battle of Mahabharata. And there, the Kauravas are represented by material desires. There, the king material desire is Duryodhana, which is very powerful. You know, Duryodhana never accepted any subjugation. He said that I cannot have been given a land of size of a point of a needle. जब कृष्ण ने उनको समझाने के लिए गए कि they do just 5 villages and just enjoy everything and this war can be averted. He said, no, I am not. Because material desires can never be fulfilled. It will want more and more. It can never be subjugated also. And then Pandavas are represented as the discrimination. And their chief is Pandu, the power of this, the son of the Pandus. Now in this war, Kauravas could fight, continue to fight for 10 days as long as Bhishma was there, you know, Bhishma. Bhishma represents the ego. You must be thinking, how can Bhishma, such a valiant, such a noble character, be ego? Usually we ascribe something negativity to ego, no? We say ahankar, and Bhishma, we have a great reverence for him. In fact, ego is not something very bad. It is reflection of soul, which is divine in nature. And if you remember, Bhishma was always repenting. In the deep in his heart, he knew that he was doing wrong by supporting Kauravas. But he had a stake in maintaining the status quo. He had promised that I'll abide by the throne. Whoever will be in throne, I will support him. So, ego always because ego's existence is conditioned by this limited identity. So now it has to maintain that. It went on, and ego can never be, he had Ichamrityu, no? He cannot die. It cannot die because you cannot destroy one image. Can you destroy any image, virtual image? So he was basically in scriptures, they use the word Abhasa Chaitanya. Abhasa Chaitanya means which is just appearing to be existing as the consciousness, but it doesn't. There is no real existence. So because it is not existing really, you cannot kill it, you cannot destroy it. That's why Bhishma was Ichamritu. Ichamritu means how ego will be destroyed? Only when it understands its real nature as image of soul. Do you remember how Bhishma got Bhishma's end, how it happened? in Mahabharata, it is described, after the war was over, when Bhishma was lying on the bed of arrows, and then Krishna told the Pandavas, you go and take lessons from him, because he was a great learning person. And then Yudhishthira listened to the discourses. There is one Bhishma Parva, whole chapter on that. And then after that, when the Uttarayan came, Uttarayan is a very symbolic thing. When your consciousness starts going off, that is Uttarayan within. Then Krishna was in front of him. A flame comes out of Bhishma's body, Jyoti, and it merges with Krishna. That is the end. That means it can only be one with the soul, because it is soul in disguise. It is soul, the image of soul. So it has to be one with that. That is the ultimate end. It cannot be annihilated. It cannot be destroyed completely. Here lies the clue. So we have to, once he is there, then Mahabharata ends. No conflict. Pandavas rule the kingdom. So we have to give chance to Pandavas the sole power of discrimination within us to rule our kingdom, this kingdom, where Mahabharata is going on. And then all the problems will be solved. We will not be attached to, we will be free from that ego identity, ego consciousness. So that what I'm saying is ultimate. But even just when you are pursuing that path to be established in that state of consciousness, when you are getting glimpses of your inner dimension, that also very fulfilling. That itself is very fulfilling. So we have to be established in that balanced state. Balanced state is what? When we're inside that, in Gita there is a very beautiful slok, Yogastha Kuru Karmani Shangam Tyaktva Dhananjaya. Siddhe Asiddho Samo Bhutva Samattam Yogam Uchyate. That means, when you get attached to that inner tranquility, inner bliss, or your inner nature, then you are established in that true balance. Sometimes this balanced living is misinterpreted. Like, I will say, give you an example. Suppose I am practicing balanced living, I have misunderstood it. Then what I will do, I will meditate for 3 hours, then I will watch a movie. To balance the meditation too. So people say, balance practice karna hai. So thoda apne you pursued spiritual path for some time, then you just start enjoying so-called material joys. It's not that. Balance is not getting attached to the opposites alternately by deliberate choice. And then you are saying that I'm leading a balanced life. No. Balanced living, balanced state is a state of consciousness where you are detached. The detachment is the key word. The detachment is the key word. In fact, Khosla ji said that you should, householder is, he was comparing householder and renunciant. You can, when you are detached, you can be a better householder. Please believe me. I know that's why I'm saying. When you are not attached to your so-called responsibilities, you can perform it better. Because you don't have that fear, that tension of the outcome of what you are doing. You're just freely you are doing, you are trying, you will be able to put of your whole energy and talent that what you have. If you are concerned what will happen if I am not able to secure this much percent of mark, then what will happen? So when you are result oriented, your efficiency level decreases. So when you are doing it freely for the sake of doing, for the joy of doing, you enjoy what you are doing. Then you will see the result will come. So that is a balanced state of mind. When you are not attached to opposite things, we are like a balance. If you are stationed in the middle of a balance, neither left nor right, then the effect of left and right is nullified at that point. So we have to be in a point where we are not attached to the opposites, the duality. This so-called this mundane world is, the basic characteristics of this mundane creation is duality. There is negative and positive. So we have to be stationed somewhere in between, that is our soul nature, where both these effects are getting neutralized. So that doesn't mean, please remember, I am not saying that you should escape your responsibilities. Yoga doesn't believe in escaping or just suppressing your so-called instincts. It believes in sublimating. Beautiful word, sublimating. That means the same desire which is taking us in a very wrong direction, it is in a way wanting us to fulfill that desire in a very crude, animalistic way. When it is sublimated, it manifests in a very sublime way. The same love is a very misinterpreted terminology nowadays, love. When that love is sublimated, it manifests as great universal love, divine love. Love for this whole creation. And when you are established in that balance, then you don't live a fragmented life. I know the sufferings that we get by living a fragmented life. Fragmented life means I'm just attached to one thing at a time. But we have every right to lead a life, holistic life, complete life. This complete universe is ours. When you have that sense, you will not only get a great sense of fulfillment in your individual life, you will be a great asset for your state, for your country, for your world, for the entire universe. Then you will become a part of this universe. Spiritual unfoldment means your sense of belongingness will improve 1,000 times. Infinite times. You become a part of this whole universe, whole creation. I'll give you some small example. You know, in India we have this problem now. If somebody is given a chance, उसके आसपास में जो है, he will try to take the most possible advantage of that condition, situation. आप ट्रेन में जा रहे हैं, कोई नहीं आसपास में देखा, वो बल्ब लगा हुआ है, उसको खोल के अपने बैग में रखिए. Because we don't feel that it belongs to us. If it is my train, it is my country, it is my world, how can I steal? Because I have a responsibility. That sense of belongingness is the main, lack of that sense of belongingness is the main culprit of all our social maladies that we are going through. हम बंगाल में कहते हैं जामाई राजा जानते हैं ना, son-in-law attitude. When the son-in-law comes to, he doesn't feel that everybody is there to serve him, you know. So we live in that attitude. So now, to lead a balanced life is the key for not only our own life's purpose, fulfillment of life's goal, our own life's goal, but for all the problems that we are going through in society, at national level, at international level, at universal level. So I will just conclude. This Kriya, the science, little bit about the science of Kriya Yoga, what it does, how it works. I said that ego is the culprit, and we are living with ego, identifying with ego because our consciousness is going out. I said the image of soul in the mirror of Maya, the mirror of Maya is activated by us only. Because I have created that mirror by taking my consciousness out. Now, the solution is we have to take that consciousness back to the source from where it came. You know, this is natural to us. We are all leading a very unnatural life. Please, many times some people argue, अरे क्या करना है भाई? अंग बंद करके ध्यान करना, practical बनो भाई, practical बनो. Practical means just enjoy life as it is. No, that is not a practical life. You are missing the real enjoyment. I believe we all have birthright to enjoy this life. It is my birthright to, जैसे बाल गंगाधर तिलक बोले ना कि ये मेरा जन्म सिद्ध अधिकार है स्वराज. So similarly, this is my birthright to enjoy this life. But how can we enjoy in real sense of the term? So now, the moment we reverse the flow, enjoyment is our real nature. We just have to be established in our real nature. I always give this example of Ganges flowing towards the ocean. Have you ever been to Kolkata nowadays? Kolkata, you must have seen, if you go nearer to the Ganga Sagar, the confluence of Ganges with ocean, when it is flowing, usually it is flowing towards the ocean. That is the natural course of the stream, Ganges stream. But in high tides, it will start flowing in the reverse direction, towards the land. And it happens when high tides usually happens more during full moon and new moon days. So it will start flowing in the reverse course. And exactly the same thing is happening within us. Naturally, our consciousness is flowing towards the source. This is our nature. But when high tide happens, high tides happen within us. High tide means when you're going through that restlessness, that excitement, excited consciousness, as I explained, then it starts flowing outward. And we are saying, oh, this is natural life, we are enjoying, because all are flowing outward. I am also flowing outward. You don't understand that you should not copy others just for the sake of copying. You should know how can you get that ultimate satisfaction in your life. In this sense, you should be selfish. I will make my life. I will get happiness for myself. Nobody else. Happiness, enjoyment cannot be obtained in proxy. You have to enjoy. Nobody else can enjoy for you. And for this, what we have to do, we should know how to reverse the course of energy and consciousness. This is the greatest science, I would say. All the science will ultimately, it will culminate into that point. Ultimately, I'm sure. I'm 100% convinced. So today only our Dr. Saab was telling a very interesting thing, that how cancerous cells grow. Because when one cell feels that he is no more a part of the family of the cells, trillions of cells which are there in our body, so he got separated. When you go to the source, you are getting united. You feel that eternal unity, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. That family, that entire universe is one family. So once that happens, that is the possibility that Kriya Yoga has. It can offer to each one of us. So by being a Kriya Yogi, you don't have to become a sannyasi like me. Wherever you are, if you renounce the so-called material pleasures for the sake of real spiritual, eternal spiritual pleasure, you are a sannyasi in real sense of the term. You are a Kriya Yogi. And here there is a tool, there is a science, time-proven science. It is not based on any faith or dogma. And if you practice this, you try it on yourself and you see what it does to you. And here at the last, I am throwing up a challenge to you. Either you prove it or disprove it. Because we all now, in this younger generation, I feel, they have that scientific temper. That's why I have a great hope. I'm very optimistic. You know, sometimes people like me of my age, they say, oh, younger generation is going astray, you know. They are not going to temples, they don't believe in God. I say, no, this is a positive sign. Why should they believe? Why do you want them to believe in some some idea, something that was just, that has become, you can say, very pale and a dogma. They should realize, they should discover for themselves. Truth is very fresh. It should give us a very fresh feeling, the freshness. And they should strive, they should try to realize that within them, and that is what is happening now. I'm sure, I'm 100% sure, this science is going to change the future of human civilization. And our Guruji says, human being cannot be 1 horsepower individual. That means we cannot be just complacent by enjoying wherever we are, little bit pleasure, theek hai, gaadi mil gaya, ghar mil gaya, main pe. No. Even after that, we will always look for something. Our goal is, our horizon is, our want is beyond the horizon. We want to achieve something which is beyond the horizon. You cannot be 1 horsepower individual, just contented, jahan pe hai, wahin pe. So you have to discover that ultimate joy, ultimate bliss, ultimate peace is something which will go on tormenting you. That desire for ultimate joy, ultimate peace. Unless you strive to achieve it, achieve that state of consciousness. So I have all you become what you want to become, whatever career you are trying to pursue, but after that, don't stop there. Horizon is your limit. You have to discover that real joy, real happiness, and this challenge I am throwing before you. Either you prove that this is all wrong, rubbish, or you discover that really something is there that I have to realize. So test this method, whatever method is there, and find out whether it is true or false.
I'm pursuing an SEO. If someone wants to live a renunciate life and their parents are not agreeing with it, so is it a right path for him or her?
See, the real wish of your parents is that they want you to see happy. I have seen that. In my case also, I faced the same dilemma before joining. So my mother used to crying unconsolably. I said, if you say no, I will not go. If you said no, then I will not join this party. When he said no, how can I say no? I know that what you are choosing, what you are trying to do in your life, it is something very great, not all can do, and I know that you are not escaping. How can I say no? But you will see tear in my eyes. An engineer, or a doctor, or an IS officer, maybe he will become successful really. But when you pursue this, and you should be convinced 100%. You set an example, your parents will be more than happy. It will take some time. They may not understand it. I'm not telling you that tomorrow you become a renunciant. But another thing, some people just get fast. Sabko doctor banna pada, engineer banna. He doesn't know. The child, if you ask him, what do you want to become? A doctor. 2 साल के बाद हो सकता है वो change हो जाएगा. He wants to become an IS officer. 3 साल के बाद हो सकता है वो change हो जाएगा. I want to become the prime minister of this country. So it keeps on changing because from outside we are getting influenced. Real role, what exactly I want to become, is very difficult. To know that, you have to go within, search within.
Achyutananda Giri from the Yogananda Satsang Society of India, Professor P.K. Khosla, the Chancellor and also patron of the Yogananda Center for Theology. Mrs. Khosla has also joined us. Professor Sopti is also with us. Registrar Puri Saab, Professor Roger, other faculty members, students and guests. We have been enthralled and thrilled by the last 45 minutes to 50 minutes of Swamiji's talk. Professor Khosla had set the context in the beginning and Swamiji took it to another level. The message is clear, the thought is clear, very clear, difficult to implement, but we know what we have to do. And Swamiji clearly said that the consciousness has to be, the flow of consciousness has to be reversed from being outward to being inward. Difficult, desires are unending. This is a rat race or horse race which will never stop. Desires will never satisfy us. Paramahansa Yogananda Ji, in whose name the Yogananda Center for Theology, the Yogananda Library are, and whose teachings we follow, he said, everything can wait, but your search for God cannot wait. Now, I have a share from WhatsApp University which says the same thing. Who's the Chancellor of WhatsApp University? Not Professor Khosla. Mark Zuckerberg? Maybe he's the Chancellor, right? आप serious हो रहे हैं, हंसने की बात है. So there are all these jokes and things which come on WhatsApp University, but one of them said the same thing, and it's a share. With your permission, Swami. The share goes, Fitur, you know, passion. Gana bhi hai na, kya hai? Fitur tera types. Fitur hota hai har daur mein juda juda. फितूर होता है हर दौर में जुदा जुदा. पहले खिलौने, फिर इश्क, फिर पैसा, फिर खुदा खुदा. Now the ego goes through this cycle every human being lives. First toys, then romance, casual stuff, then paisa, career, and they go simultaneously also. And then we realize there's something called God. Although we know there's something called God. वो तो सुबह हम या शाम को कुछ करते भी हैं, जब एग्जाम होता है और याद करते हैं थोड़ा सा. WhatsApp करते हैं God को, please help me God. But ultimately God is the one who helps us. Can we bring him in at the time of toys? Can we start meditating at the time of romance? Can we start meditating early in our careers? Yes, we can. If you bring in God and meditation early in your lives, then lives become easier. Happiness becomes easier to find. And He helps you. And if you are grateful to God, He helps you. So bring Him in, bring in meditation. And Swamiji said you don't have to be renunciants to be practicing yoga and meditation. Balanced living doesn't mean extremes. It means balancing your life. And Swamiji introduced a very beautiful word which I noted down. Sublimation. Making everything sublime. That bliss consciousness. It is possible to be busy and successful and aspirational and ambitious and achieve all your goals and at the same time be meditative and centered on God. That is possible. So let's try. Thank you very much. Thank you very much to Dr. Khosla for his patronage and for having invited Swamiji to speak today, and the Yogananda Center for Theology for putting this together. Dr. Supriya has worked hard for this event, and all the other faculty members, everyone else. Brigadier Mehta called me up. Lots of effort goes behind every single facet of every single event that you see. So my gratitude to all. Thank you.